Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
What the fuck? Max Holloway has been forced out of his fight with Khabib Nurmagomedov, which he already accepted on short notice after Tony Ferguson was forced out of the fight due to injury. Now Max Holloway has been declared medically unfit to fight and pulled from the UFC 223 main event. Max Holloway did take this fight on short notice, so you could already imagine it was going to be hard to cut the weight, which is why we had a featherweight trying to make the weight limit on 6 days notice, rather than somebody like a #1 lightweight contender Eddie Alvarez, who it would just be unreasonable for him to try and make the weight in 6 days notice. So they tried to tab in featherweight champion Max Holloway, give him an extra 10 pounds to help try and make weight. Coming in a little heavy still, had the nutritionist, said that's still going to be tied for one of the heaviest weight cuts I've ever done. Now it's the day of weigh-ins, and Max Holloway just, it looks like, couldn't make it. But, before everybody gets their pennies in a bunch, I mean, take this into consideration. We do have a replacement. This time it's not a current champion, but still a former champion, and it also kind of saves another fight on the card. So, Max Holloway has been declared medically unfit to fight. You know, he took the fight on 6 days notice. Much respect to Max Holloway for even trying to step up and save the card. That would have still turned this into like a little super fight, you know, because if Khabib wins, this would have been the featherweight versus the lightweight champion. But the thing is, Holloway, you know, he had everything against him. He was coming off of an injury at UFC 222, which forced him out of that main event. He had the weight cut against him. Another reason, you know, that it could have affected his performance. He having to cut all of that weight would have for sure affected his performance. It would have been like a half a Max Holloway in there. So, I mean, it would have really been Max Holloway going in there. He would have still got the check, pay-per-view points, you know, not lost his belt. Even though he would have probably lost the fight, it was kind of a win-win for Max Holloway. But he was unable to get in there, unfortunately, because that would have been a nice paycheck. You know what I'm saying? UFC 223 pay-per-view points after all of this Conor drama. I'm curious to see how this, you know, carries over into UFC 223, because there's been a lot of fights canceled now. This would have made the 4th fight, but now we kind of get this fight saved, because let's think about the other 3 fights that were canceled. Artem Lobov versus Alex Caceres. Artem Lobov for his involvement in the Conor McGregor incident. Then we had Ray Borg and Michael Chiesa, both injured from the Conor McGregor bus incident, so their opponents lost their fights, which was Anthony Pettis and Brandon Moreno. Well, Anthony Pettis and Michael Chiesa were going to be fighting at lightweight. Anthony Pettis is a former lightweight champion, and since his opponent is out due to that injury, that freak injury, from, you know, it's not even a freak injury. Conor McGregor's fucking thug squad threw a fucking hand truck through the window and cut some people with some of the glass. I'm surprised no one got hit with the damn big metal hand truck. That would have been some serious news. I mean, this is all still serious, but it's a heavy fucking dolly. That's someone asked me what a dolly is. It's a hand truck. It's the thing you use. You know what a fucking dolly. If you don't know what a dolly or a hand truck is, you need to do some fucking work. Either way, though. So, Anthony Pettis lost his opponent when he fought Michael Chiesa. Now Anthony Pettis is going to step in for Max Holloway. So now Anthony Pettis is going to be Khabib food. I mean, I do give Anthony Pettis a better shot than I was giving Max Holloway, even though Max Holloway has a win over Anthony Pettis, because Anthony Pettis was at least in a full fight camp, also healthy, also already, you know, cutting weight. So at least he's coming in here as a you know, a top 10 ranked lightweight instead of just like an injured, you know, featherweight that has to cut weight. Whether you're the champion or not, it doesn't matter who was coming up from featherweight on 6 days notice off of an ankle injury, having to cut all of this weight. It's just a bad look versus one of the best fighters in the lightweight division, the best grapplers the lightweight division has ever seen. That's been fucking ragdolling dudes. Now he's on a full camp, a championship camp, and you're gonna throw that would have been bad news for Max Holloway. So he was unable to make the weight cut, which would have even showed if he did make the weight by this much. Boy, he would have been drained in the fight. He might have been out of gas in the 2nd round, and you would not want to see Max Holloway against the fence getting fucking his face tenderized by Khabib, all because he wanted to save the card. Now, the check might have made it worth it, but either way, now Anthony Pettis steps in, saves the card. Now, if Anthony Pettis wins, this motherfucker about to fuck around and be the lightweight champion. Whoa! Then now, a lot of people probably are not going to expect Anthony Pettis to win by any stretch of the means unless he pulls off a submission. But Anthony Pettis has not been notoriously known for being good against grapplers. He gets taken down in some of his fights. He's more of a, like, flashy striker, but maybe he can pull off a submission here. Maybe he can jump off the fence and kick Khabib on his way in? I don't know. He's gonna have to do something. But now instead of Max Holloway getting fed to Khabib, it's looking like Anthony Pettis is the one that will be feeding Khabib. With that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think about Max Holloway being forced out of his fight due to being deemed medically unclear to fight. And what do you think about the new matchup between Khabib and Anthony Pettis? This is Big Drama Show. Yo, you know how much stuff has went down in the last 4 days, just starting at the Tony Ferguson like injury all the way to the everything, the Artem incident. You know what I'm saying? Max Holloway stepping in on short notice. Then the Artem incident. Then the bus incident. We lost 3 fights. Now we just lost Holloway versus Khabib. Yo, let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. I'm out. And as always, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell right next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking DOWG.